Hello viewers, I'm Sidi Ali Fatima Nabila, your host. Welcome to State of the Nation on Aspheric TV. State of the Nation is a program that addresses current and trending issues in Nigeria, ranging from politics, governance, lifestyle, entertainment, etc. Today on the program with me is Venerable Dr. Chimela M. Samuel. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, today we will be torchlighting on the topic politics and religion. If you're just joining us, don't forget to subscribe to all our social media platforms on official Aspheric TV on Facebook, Aspheric TV on YouTube, at official Aspheric on Twitter and Instagram. So for the purpose of profiling and identification, can you please tell us who you are and what you do?
I am Venerable Dr. Chimela Samuel. I am an Anglican priest in the Church of Nigeria, and currently I serve as the rector of St. Peter's Anglican Church, Rome Precom, in the city of Port Harcourt.
Okay. So I will start by saying, since this is a topic that is quite sensitive, I will go straight to the point. Should the church get involved in politics?
Yeah, I think the church should be involved in politics.
What are your reasons? Can you give us a few reasons behind?
Yeah, because the church is called to bring about transformation. The church is not only called to preach. The church is called to bring about transformation in the society. And if that is going to happen, you know, the church isn't going to just pray. The church has to be involved. You know, when Jesus preached his Sermon on the Mount, he said that ye are the salt of the earth. Ye are the light of the world. So he was speaking to his disciples. And so what that means is that they will be involved in the life of the world. And so if they are going to be involved in the life of the world, governance is part of the life of the world. And so they have to be involved. So if Christians will be involved, then the church, which is the body of Christ, has to be involved.
Will you say your position as a clergy hinders or prohibits you from partaking or engaging in politics?
Well, it doesn't.
Okay. Don't you think some people would say it's quite controversial for a man of God to be involved in politics?
Well, the man of God can be involved in politics in the sense that the people he leads also are involved in politics. The people I pastor, you know, are politicians. I have politicians in my congregation who are in the government, you know, from both sides of the divide, and I pastor them. I pray for them. I speak to them on issues, you know. So for me, while I am not involved in partisan politics, because that takes me outside of my calling, you know, I should also, I'm involved in politics in other ways, because I pray for politicians. So I think that is a way of being involved. I speak to the politicians on issues.
So you would agree that politics plays a competent role? Religion plays a competent role in politics?
Obviously.
Okay. So aside the Bible, what other book or books would you say have shaped your life and you would encourage people of the public to read?
Well, now I'll speak. I've read quite a number of books, and I'm still reading a number of books. So I wouldn't just say one. A lot of books have touched me, but there's one I'm doing right now, I'm reading currently, written by Pete Scazzero. He's an Italian American, and he wrote a book. It's a Christian book, actually. It's titled Emotionally Healthy Discipleship. So for me, that's a huge contribution to knowledge. It's a book that makes it clear that for you to be a disciple, you need to be emotionally healthy. You know, and it goes on to discuss a number of issues, not just,
Well, so you would say that it takes quite a number of different values to get really grounded, to be able to, you know, accept religion and even participate in politics as a religious person.
Oh, yes.
Okay, fair enough. So what do you have to say about clergies endorsing political candidates?
Well, there are two ways to it. I think that the clergyman should be very careful in endorsing. There is nothing wrong with a clergyman endorsing a candidate. But in doing that, because if the church is going to be involved in politics, the people that will come out to run for elective offices will be members of the congregation. Now, so if, for instance, a member of my congregation that I can attest to his integrity, honesty, and he has a proven track record in his field of endeavor, you know, and he's been tested. Now, there are many things I can do that suggests an endorsement. But in doing that, if, for instance, this member of my congregation is in party A, now in doing that, I need to be very careful because every member of my congregation is not in party A. There are some members who are in party B, and party B may just be maybe the opposition party, while party A may be the party in government. So in doing that, I need to be very careful. So it's a yes and a no answer, kind of.
So let me throw it to you. What then happens when an endorsed candidate does not deliver after being elected?
Yeah, people make mistakes.
So would you peg it as a mistake, you vouching for their integrity, or them not delivering? Which of the two is the mistake?
Yeah, you know, in governance, in politics, it is not only the elected official that makes things work. There are people who do the field work. Now, an elected official may have good intentions. He may have good programs and policies, and he wants to make things work. But there may just be people who work in the background. A president or a governor may send some things to the Senate, and the Senate may frustrate it. You know, and so when you see in a place where there is proper separation of powers, if you look at the United States, for instance, you know, you see that the Congress is not a rubber stamp.
True that.
It's not a rubber stamp. So there are things they say no to. And you just have to lobby and lobby. So sometimes that kind of thing can make a candidate fail. If you have, for instance, you have a very progressive Congress, you know, and the elected official is a conservative. I'm just using
examples, situations.
And he's trying to front something that conservatives front. You know, you can be sure that the progressives are going to frustrate, and vice versa. If this person is a progressive and maybe Congress is conservative, you know, so they may be struggling with, oh, we're going to do it, we're not going to do it, and the time may elapse. And you say the guy has failed. He may not have failed. It's just that he's struggling. So
circumstances and situations.
There are circumstances. You know, look at the Nigerian situation. What's happening right now with security happened almost 8 years ago. And it looked like someone was failing. Yeah, now I'm sure the the government right now would, if they are honest, they would say to us that
we see what Party AB tried to do.
Exactly.
Now we're here and it's not
Correct.
working.
So sometimes it's not too good to like criticize the other man, because you don't know where the shoe is pinching him. So those are factors that can make a politician who was trusted to fail.
Well, seeing that this is a very, very sensitive topic, like I said earlier, because I seem to think, or from perspective, Nigerians are generally very religious people. We tend to listen to our religious heads, and sometimes we're humans, we err. Like, not all advice given to you from all religious leaders can be right at all times. So what will you say your advice is to Nigerians concerning politics and religion?
What I want to say to Nigerians is the fact that you follow a priest or a man of God or an imam does not remove your brains from your head.
But a lot of people seem to get that mixed up. Because someone will tell you, oh, my malam said support this candidate, or my pastor said, oh, this is the man for the job. And then why do you think it hinders individuals or Nigerians when religion gets involved in politics? Like, do you think it hinders Nigerians from making decisions that they should actually be making?
I think to some extent, I could say yes, when people take it too far. Like I said a couple of seconds ago, I said that the fact that you have an imam that you could trust, or a clergyman that you could trust, does not remove your brains from your head. Because it wasn't your imam or your pastor that told you to brush your teeth this morning. So you knew that if you didn't brush your mouth, or clean up, you were going to smell. So imams are first of all men. Pastors are first of all men. They say man of God. If you remove the of God, it's just a man. And he makes mistake. Now, I'll give you an example. In the Bible, a prophet went to David when David wanted to start building a temple for God. And David set out to build this temple. And the prophet went to him and said, go ahead, the Lord is with you. Now, the prophet went home, and God said to him, I didn't say that to you. Go back and say to him, he is not going to be the one that is going to build the temple. His son will. Now, the prophet was honest enough to go back to David and said, I was wrong. So you are not going to build the temple. You've been a man of war. Your son is going to be a man of peace. So he will build the temple. So I just gave that example, just to let us know that clerics, could make mistakes. So that is why the people that are led, as much as they are reverend, I mean, I'm a cleric, I make mistakes. So that is why we need to be very careful with endorsements. Because it is very possible that the cleric can make a mistake. So that's why people should also use their brains. Because if a cleric tells you that you should vote for a man that you and I know has a bad track record, I mean, our heads will be telling us something, and our hearts will be telling us a different thing. The heart tells you what the imam says, you want to believe it, or what the pastor says, you want to believe it, but your head is telling you what happened in 1928 or what happened in 2017. And you're like, how? So we need to also use our brains. That's why God gave them to us.
Well, I wish a lot of people really would get the time to be this enlightened. Thank you so much for coming on the program, Dr. Samuel. And to our viewers, don't forget to follow our social media platforms at Official Aspheric on Facebook, Aspheric TV on YouTube, and at Aspheric News on Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, I remain your host, Sidi Ali Fatima Nabila. Thank you.